Welcome everyone. 8:30 on the nose. Hopefully you can hear me fine. Just give me a shout out. Make sure that everything is good. And welcome to Lightroom Live. Oh, Josh has already commented. Did you touch my drum set? Obviously I did. Did we just be... What's your favorite dinosaur? Welcome everyone. And yeah. There I am. Here I am. So hope everyone's having a good short week. It's already Tuesday, which is nice. So yeah. Looks like we've got good audio, and hope everything is good with everybody there. So let's jump right in and start editing some photos. I'm going to start with the cover photo. This one's from Tim Gerton, also known as Small Factory Studio, who is already in the chat. Thanks for checking in, Tim. Funny story, this truck used to belong to me, and before it belonged to me, it belonged to Pardon My Noob. It's been around and has seen a lot of love, I will say. So why not start with one that we're all familiar with? Nice, crisp, sharp photo. Look at that handsome guy right there. Let's do a little crop here first. But what we're not going to do is keep the original constraints. We're going to lower that and get rid of some of that. And I think that's going to be a good start. Nice and low, good photo to start with. A fun fact, these super swampers, or well, these were the, what do they call these? Rock stompers or mud stompers? It's RC four-wheel drive's not super swamper tire from ages ago. And I think it's actually my preferred tire. It was like my go-to for years. Nice tall 155. All right, let's correct this photo. I'm just going to cool it off slightly and adjust my tint. And I'm going to lower the exposure a little bit. And then I'm going to start addressing the orange, because that is a little over luminescent, or a little over saturated, I mean. And then I'm going to up the luminance as well. Then in my saturation, I'm going to pull that down a little bit, and then in my hue, I am going to go more towards the orangey orange that I know this truck is. Okay, now that I've fixed that, I can go back into my shadows and raise those overall, because there is a lot of nice kind of detail stuff going on in this truck. This is on a Bruiser chassis, the Tamiya Bruiser. It's also got Chino leaf springs and original rummied axles. And these axles are from the, Bruiser, sorry. And what this guy did was he actually converted them to be proper hex and proper steering knuckles. So it makes it way easier to do all these mods. This sort of truck is what you would build to crawl with before you could just buy an axial truck. And it's been around a long time and was almost sort of the preference for a lot of people because of these tiny little mini truck style axles. So yeah, history lesson for everybody. Let's throw a heavy vignette on this, and then I think we're gonna go in and do a window on the truck and the man. And that's way too cool and way too tinty and way too overexposed. Might actually just keep that right where it is and boost our saturation again, something like that. Raise our shadows a little bit more, and because this is a old truck, let's do some grain on there too. Oh, the dishwasher's done. think we'll go somewhere in there. And let's pull a gradient in here. And go a little bit warmer on that. Keep the tint where it is. A little more saturation. What else can we do to this one? Maybe we'll do another one of these over here. Just throw a bit more warmth down this shadow way down here. That's looking pretty good. And I'm just going to go to the chat here for a minute. Oh, thunderstorms in your area. Hi, Mike. How are you? RC Patina guy. Hello. How are you, sir? About time taking after Josh. I presume that has to do with the commentary on Step Brothers. Phones can take pictures in RAW format. Not that I know of. Most of them render in HEIC or JPEG, as far as I know. I could be wrong. Yeah, these tube doors are original, brazed up by Pardon My Noob himself. Man, this truck has seen a lot of love over the years. And I think that's probably where I'm going to leave this one. I thought about doing like one of these vintagey style ones, and I might still do that, not the instant one, but this sort of like the red lift, that might actually be good. Where are we at? That's where we are now. That's red lift. No, I like what we've done here. Let's see a little before and after on this one, actually. Before, after. Let's go full screen on that too. Before, after. See, I think we just kind of balanced everything out a little bit and made it feel a little more realistic. Not so super hot in the highlights, and not so super dark in the low black tones there. Just kind of a nice balance. So there you go. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for sending me a photo of a truck that I gave to you in exchange for another truck. So much appreciated. I'm really pleased with that. Good to see it being used. That's one thing that I think, I don't know if it happens to you guys, but when you sell a truck, I don't often get to see much of it anymore. After it's been sold, that's kind of it. Just kind of disappears. So this is nice. It's a nice, refreshing change from the everyday. And thanks, Tim, for submitting that. And if you would like to submit your photos, by all means, submissions at scalebuildersguild.com. I go through all those, pick out as many as I can, put them into Lightroom, and then do a correction and send them back. I did send everybody's corrected photos back this week for the last 2 weeks. So they should all be sent back, and everybody should have those now. All right. I know I forgot to add a few that I had brought in from the last import. So maybe, why don't we do that? Why don't we quickly go into the library here and do a little import. And we'll find these. Where are they? Lightroom for live stream. Okay. And there should be some new ones in here that haven't been done yet. Some that have been and just keep showing up over and over again. All right, import import those. And what I'll do is I'll add these to our quick select collection, so that way all the ones that we have yet to do are all in one place, which makes it very handy. We can go back over to develop now, and let's just start with this one. This one here from Robinson Daybeck. This is a cool photo. There's a lot of stuff going on in this, and what an awesome location. It looks like it's right on the side of a cliff. Very cool sky. Looks like that's maybe snow? It's hard to tell. Could be anything, but really like the effect on this lens, or whatever lensing has gone on here. I don't think there's anything, I even think there might have been a flash or a light going on. This is a pretty cool photo, so thank you, Robinson, for sending that one in. This is a raw photo as well. As you see, it comes up as a CR2 and is super high resolution, and it also shows the white balance as it was shot, which is always really helpful. I don't think we're going to change that white balance. I actually really like where it's sort of sitting here already. Maybe we'll bring the saturation on that red actually up a little bit instead of down, just to make it really pop off the screen here. Same thing with the oranges, and that's really kind of bringing something into the sky there. Blues will also accentuate those. Purples, we'll see if there's anything in that sky that's going to come out there, maybe even the magentas. We're going to give this an overall saturation boost and do that with that there, and the greens as well, maybe even the aquas. And what we're doing is just sort of emphasizing all of this stuff going on in the background. And if I bring texture and a little bit of clarity in there, it really brings those rocks to life. And you can see why you would want to do that. I'm going to use a paintbrush here and do a nice big paint in the sky here. And that's just to give it a touch more drama. That might be a bit too heavy on the cool factor, so we're just going to dial that back and maybe even swing it in tint towards the magentas a little bit. Yeah, I think something in there is pretty nice. Let's go back down to our HSL sliders. Actually, let me do one more thing here. I'm just going to pull something into this rock here. Warm that up a little bit. And over texturize it as well. Cool. Shadows, I think we'll lift those a little bit as well. Not too much. And overall exposure I'm going to bring down a little bit still. Mike, you can send JPEGs or RAWs. I prefer RAWs because they give you a lot more latitude for adjustments. But yeah, JPEGs are totally fine as long as they're nice high resolution. Let's change the hue on some of these things here. There was a lot of orange in that rock in the front there. I'm just going to pull that out. Green, aqua, and I'm just kind of boosting things around here a little bit. There's my dog. Who knows what he's barking at? I'm not going to do a crop on this photo. I think it actually looks pretty good as is. I'm just going to see where I was at here. Let's do full screen while I'm thinking about it. Before, after. See, it's just a subtle correction, but I think it makes a big difference. Before, after. It's all just about drawing your eye into this scene here. And in fact, we can even do a little bit more if we do a radial filter here. Hi, Francis. That's my kitty, Francis. And it's just a slight boost on the exposure. There we go. Now you're getting a bit of that reflection of the sky right here in there, which I think looks pretty good. And the truck itself, definitely the center of attention, mostly because of that radial blur that this lensing has caused. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Before, after. Just another super subtle one, but one that I think works really well. Thank you, Robinson, for that submission. That is very cool. All right. Moving on. There was one in here that I wanted to do because it's a night photo, and we haven't done a lot of night photos. This one's from David Crabtree. Looks like a nice looking gladiator there, or brute maybe. That's a brute body, I think. Very cool. This bridge gets a lot of attention here. Yeah, looks good. Already it looks quite nice, actually. I don't know that we're going to do too much to it. Maybe clean up some of the blacks here. Maybe lower our exposure on the, or lower our saturation on the reds. It's going to be first place I'm going to start, probably. Luminance, I might even bring that down a touch as well. And exposure I'm going to lower because I want those blacks to be nice and black. I don't want to see a lot of grain leaking in there. Turn down our highlights a little bit. Lower our shadows. Get them nice and dense. Going to increase our whites. And of course, crush our blacks down a little bit too. Let's do a quick rotation on this one. Feels like it could be cleaned up a little bit. Hi, Francis. Just to get that bridge nice and level. I think that helps. Let's maybe do a little tiny bit more. See what happens. There we go. And remember to constrain that crop so it maintains. Now it looks like there was something either buzzing or blurring. Maybe even like a plane or something that went by. So what we're going to do is get rid of that. Hopefully. That did it. Nice. Yeah, this is a killer photo. I think it's pretty cool. Let's also do a little bit of a crop on this one too. I don't want to keep the original aspect. Go a little bit widescreen on this one too, so we don't have as much sky in there, and we make the truck a little more central to the photo. There, that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to avoid my usual texture and clarity, because I think what's going to happen if we do that is I'll put a little bit of texture in, but if I do clarity, see what happens? Like instantly, and I'll go full screen so you can see that really well. There's where we were. As soon as you add that clarity, it starts to get really, really pixelated, and you can really feel the grain in the photo. So we're going to eliminate that entirely. And I think that's going to do a pretty good job right there. I'm just adjusting my tone curve. I don't use this tool very often, but it does help with some of the grain as well. So there we go. I think that's going to do it right there. I think we'll see a big difference before and after on this one. Before, after. I think what I've done is I've just given it a bit more drama. Actually, before we get away from this one, I'm just going to increase the vibrance and the saturation a little bit. Hi, Francis. You want to come up here? Hi. Francis. Wouldn't be a stream of mine or Josh's if there wasn't a cat on the desk. She'll settle down here in a second. Yeah, so anyway, before, after, I think we've just added some drama and brought that skyline in the background to life. And it's, again, another subtle correction, not a big difference, but I think it just kind of makes the picture look a little more polished. That's it. Thank you very much, David, for the submission. I hope you've been watching. All right. Let's do this Jeep. I've been meaning to do this Jeep for a while. This is from Nick Orman. And I'm presuming he's from the United Kingdom. He's got a Limey license plate on there. So hope that's what that means. It looks like a Knight Customs grill on this deadbolt. Definitely some aftermarket axles. Pitbull growlers. Nice looking light bar. All kinds of good accessories on there. So looking good. Yeah, if you guys could hit the like button, that would be spectacular. Thank you very much. All right, let's get started. I think definitely nice location. Definitely feels like it's pretty real. Let's maybe get rid of some of that sky. But not too much, just to kind of get us into the rule of thirds. You know, you always kind of want to have your truck sort of centered in this area here. And texture. Texture, again, we're not going to do clarity because it's not a big photo. So we don't have a ton of latitude in that regard. Definitely going to saturate this a little bit more. But I am going to turn down the saturation on our reds so they're not like exploding my eyeballs. Definitely going to warm this one up. Feel a little more desert. We'll throw a vignette here, something like that. And maybe we'll even do paintbrush tool here and paint in a little extra shadow along here. And I'm just going to lower the exposure, warm it back up, get our tint in the right spot, lower our shadows, keep our saturation where it is. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. This looks like it's got a wrap on it too. Is that a Freaky Skins wrap? I bet you it is. Also just going to add a radial or a gradient here, sort of with the intention of giving the sky a bit of texture. I'm going to delete that one because I don't want it. And call that one done. Just to give it some kind of texture, right? So it's not just solid blue. And then we're going to raise the shadows a little bit, reduce our highlights overall, and then crush down our blacks a little bit further. I think that looks pretty good. Francis, don't wreck my shirt. There. Yeah, Mike Brooks, it is totally cats and crawlers. Yeah. I like my cats. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about this one. Let's see where we ended up here. I'm gonna go full screen and before and after. I think it looks pretty good. Not as subtle as some of the other corrections we've been doing, but yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Nice. Thank you, Nick Orman, for the submission. That's really cool. Let's do Braden's Jeep here. Looks like it's by a riverbank. That's an SCX-10 III. Pretty interesting purple paint on this one. Can't say that I've seen that color before. I wonder if that's a Proline mix. Anyway, it looks pretty good. A cowboy hat, man. All right, let's start doing a crop on this one. I'm not going to get rid of that grass entirely, but I am going to try to sort of push our truck down a little bit so it's not so bottom heavy. That's feeling a little better. I feel like we can go a bit cooler with this one. Somewhere in there. Maybe even our exposure is a little overexposed there. Bring that down. Bring up our highlights a little bit. Oh, I'm still full screen. Oops. Definitely texture. Definitely clarity. I think that helps a lot. Shadows can come up a little bit. Actually, I might paint some shadow areas here first. I'm just doing that just to give us a little better view in there. And I'm going to keep the saturation kind of muted just for this section that I just painted in there. Do a medium vignette on this one. I like all these branches in the background. It sort of does feel a bit like trees, which is kind of cool. You're missing a few window masks there, Braden. Just for the record. Just kind of looking at some of these presets here, just to see if there's anything that kind of... That's kind of interesting. That pulls out a lot of saturation, but adds a lot into the greens. For all your whites and your blacks, they get a bit of a green tint. It's interesting. I do prefer this, though. This looks a little more natural, a little more realistic. Let's go into our saturation on those reds, pull that down a bit further. What else? What else would we do here? I mean, already I like what it's doing. Let's see if we can kind of get more purple into this frame here. That's already better. There we go. What is there a purple color they have? Like Mopar has a purple Plum Crazy. That's what it's called. I answered my own question. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. There isn't much we can do with this. There's not a lot happening. I'm just going to desaturate that wood chip a little bit there. It is quite magenta right now, so now I've made it a little less magenta. And greens, we can probably desaturate that a little bit so it doesn't pull so much tension away. Otherwise, I think that's pretty good. Full screen, before, after. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Thank you for your submission, Braden. I'll be sure to get this back to you ASAP. Mike J, are you keeping track of the crops? 3 photos, 3 crops? Yeah, Vidjo, 3. You missed 3 crops. Now 4. I'm gonna see if maybe the next one I don't crop. My RC's only. This is Lightroom from Adobe, Lightroom Classic. It's my go-to for photo editing. I've been using it for a couple years now. Welcome, McLean Customs. Thanks for checking in. Hi, Jeremy. How are you? Photoshop a servo in there. You don't think there's one in there? No, there isn't. You're absolutely right. He must have just finished this and not put any electronics in it. He's just eager to get it in and get a photo on the live stream. That's amazing. Braden, I hope this is going to be driven. That's amazing. That's hilarious. All right, let's find another photo. Which one do I want to do next? Got a lot of Jeeps in a row here. I feel like I did this photo. Maybe I didn't. Weird. All right, well, let's do it. Mike Guy's submission. Blue Hilux long wheelbase with a couple of nice looking happy men inside it. Or getting followed by a Jeep. Seems about right. Okay, looking good. We're going to have to do a little bit of a crop here because I'm sure you guys can see there is a shadow here from the camera. Let's get rid of that right away. And yes, we are going to cut off that Jeep a little bit, but that's okay. The focus should be on our truck right here, so that's what we're going to be looking at. That's another crop. Hope you're counting. Let's see here. I'm going to lower our exposure a little tiny bit. And I'm going to bring down the highlights as well. Amp up our texture and our clarity. I think it always just makes these tiny trucks come alive. And we're going to go for a bit of a different look on this one. I'm going to lower our vibrance. I might even amp up our clarity a little bit more. I love seeing all these tire tracks. I think that's really cool. Orange, I'm going to kind of give a bit of a boost. Bring our sky back a little bit with a gradient here. There we go. It's a good looking photo. Now we're going to go fix the hue on that blue. Purple. There we go, that's better. Yes, Travis, if you are an educator, you do get some of the Adobe photo or Adobe programs for free, so that's a good deal. All that time spent teaching has been proven worth it. What else should we do here? I'm going to lift up our shadows a little bit, and I might play with our green hue just a touch. Then I'm going to lower its saturation overall. And this is feeling pretty good, I think. Yeah. It's true, RC Good Times. What photo doesn't need a good crop? Before, after, let's go full screen on that. Before, after. And there's some nice subtleties to this truck, and I'm not sure if you saw it or not, but there's the wiper technique where you masking tape over the path of the wipers and then spray some flat clear. I just did that on the Land Rover D90 Heritage Edition weathering video, so hopefully you checked that one out. Hey Brazen, you've only missed 4 photos, holy cow. But nice scale details, like look at this, even the registration tag on the windshield here, that's really cool. Just all around a nice looking truck, nice looking photo. Thank you very much, Mike, for the submission. That's pretty darn cool. Looking good. All right. Here's one from Chris McCole, another VS410. I feel like this is a familiar location. Did we do this photo? I feel like we might have, or at least one very similar to it. Let's carry on. I feel like I remember this rock, or maybe all the rocks are just blending in together. I mean, it could be. Let's warm it up a little bit. Bring down our exposure. Same with our highlights. Shadows can come up a little bit. Relax back down. Texture up. Clarity up. And definitely increase our vibrance. It's an interesting truck because it is VS410. It's reflecting so much of the rock into it. It's almost like the rock extends through it. It's almost like it's clear. Just changing our hue on the greens, making them a bit more yellow overall. Oops. Change our saturation here. Yellow's up, orange is up. And I'm not going to crop this photo, believe it or not. My RC's only, everyone here has told you it's Adobe Lightroom. You won't forget it because it's been typed out for you. Definitely going to do a vignette, a heavy one on this. Well, sure. Yeah, we'll stick with the heavy one. Maybe, well, medium. We'll go medium. Let's try to paint some color into this rock here. There we go. That's what I wanted. Nice. Before, after. Before and after. I think that's looking pretty good. So thank you very much for the submission there, Chris McCole. Again, it's just, you know, it comes down to a good location and good composition and good lighting, and you can get a really nice picture that doesn't require too much editing. Looks great. Ooh, let's do this one. This will be a fun one. This is from Jeremy Burris. I believe this looks like it was at Axial Fest 2020, so that would be at Badlands. I just like how it's sort of an action shot coming down on this rock. Will we need to do a crop on this one? It wouldn't be a Lightroom Live if we didn't do a crop. I think somewhere in there is probably going to be good. Yeah, I like that. Nice hazy photo. It does feel very real because of this foreground object being out of focus. And I like that. I like that a lot. Nice out of focus background too. I have a feeling this was shot on an iPhone. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, if you're watching. I say that because you can see the almost, like everything's super crisp right around the edges, and then it falls off like instantly as you get over here. And I have a feeling that's the portrait mode on the iPhone. But correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't crop it out entirely, Vidjo. I kept some of it. And I'm just adding some sharpness to both of those wheels and tires. what I'm going to do there. Oops. Is attempt to change the hue on that. Not a lot of information in there. I just kind of wanted to get it a bit more orange. There we go. Because those marker lights are orange, not red. Okay, overall saturation up. And there we go. Little dehazing as well. I think we've made a nice photo. No, welcome Jefferson. No, we haven't started touching wood yet. That comes later. Before, after. Again, I think this week is all about subtle corrections. It's not like crazy over-the-top effects to make your photos look totally different. It's all about like little tiny things that can just kind of make them look a little bit better or just a little more polished. I'm just grabbing a drink. I'll be right back. Very thirsty. All right. So before, after. That's looking pretty good. Oh, this was a Samsung and not an Axial Fest. You were at Axial Fest at some point. But very nice. Looks good, man. Thank you very much for the submission, Jeremy. Moving on. Let's do Stay Blazed Hilux. This is a Tamiya Hilux, and you know how I know that. Not as much of a drop bed, and these cutouts for the original Bruiser. Nice candy paint. Like these wheels too, those are pretty cool. And a nice location to boot. Let's go with it. I wonder if... Pretty soft lines on this body. I'm curious about this one now. Because, I mean, it's pretty rounded out around here. This doesn't... Could this be a Lexan pop of a hard body? And I guess it's an element, because there's an element sticker on the window. But interesting. Very interesting. There will not be a crop on this photo. We will not be cropping this, sir. There we go, a little more blue sky. And we'll do another gradient coming up this way. Warm up all these rocks. Ooh, not too much though, yikes. Come on, get it together. There we go, that's better. And I think we'll fix the shadows overall. It's feeling a little dark. Yes, I'm using OBS. That's the best way I've found to do live streams. I'm also using my new Stream Deck, which is super cool. You'll see that. Let me go full screen. So this thing is like a little tiny thing that allows me to just set up some presets, and I can just pretty easily go in and go, okay, now I want to see just the app, or now I just want to see me, or now I want to go full screen. Very cool, very handy little device. I absolutely love it. You can also, if you were paying attention there, see I've got a zoom shortcut on there as well. It's super handy. I love having it. Amp up the texture and the clarity, and then we're going to go into the saturation on that purple and really pop it out here. Same thing with the magenta, so now your highlights are really popping nicely. What's it say there? Yoda Squad on the back. That's cool. And let's throw a vignette on there as well. Medium one I think is good. And, well, let's leave the blacks where they were, and we'll do a radial over the truck here. There we go. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. RC Good Times. Speaking of Hugh, can you please give a shout out to my good pal Hugh Jass? He's feeling down in the dumps today. He's got dumps like a truck. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about that one. Let's go full screen before and after. Definitely nice. So thank you, Stay Blazed. I appreciate that. I don't get a lot of purple trucks on this channel, so I think that's our second one ever. That's looking pretty good, though. Thank you very much for your submission. Samsung Galaxy 9. I'll have to remember that, Jeremy. Thank you. All right. Which one should we do next? We just did that one. Let's do this waterfall. Hey, another Jeremy Burris photo. Jeremy, it's like it's your stream tonight, man. It's all you. I love these captured in motion shots. These are really great. Start out with a little crop at the top here. Somewhere in there I think is nice. What truck is that? Looks like a 1.9 bomber. The front cage cut off. I bet you I'm right. I bet you I'm right on that. So I'm just adding some saturation and some vibrance into this scene. We are going to go into our green hues, or our green saturation, and dial that back a little bit. Same thing with our orange, because that guy in there is blinding me a little bit. No kidding, Mike. That long wheelbase TF2 is Old Sun RC's rig. Custom sculpted the drivers, including making their clothes. Wow, that is cool as. Let's quickly go back to that one for a second. That is amazing. I can't believe it. That's so cool. Mike, have him, well, I mean, yeah, I think I follow him on Instagram. I'll reach out to him because I want to talk to him. Those are amazing. Really nicely done. Thanks for sharing that bit of info with me. All right. What else can we do here? Saturation. Our yellows maybe a little bit. I'm actually kind of feeling what we've done so far. I think we've really brought the whites in the water to life. Bring our blacks down a little bit. I wish there was more going on in the background. I think if that's one piece of advice I could give you, Jeremy, is try to get it on an angle, like maybe even tilt up a little bit more so we can see more of the sky. That would be really helpful. Otherwise, really nice photo. Looks really cool. I love the water and the blurriness that's there. That's just really cool. Really, really cool. Let's see that one full screen, and before and after. Just adding a bit of texture and clarity and saturation in the right places, and I think we've kind of brought that truck to life. Nice scene. Before, after. It's a Capra. Huh. Very cool. Very nice. I like it. All right. let's move on to another photo. See what else we've got here. Ooh, let's do RC patina, guys. Look at this infraction. What a cool look. What a great location to shoot at, too. I love that background. Very appropriate to the styling era of the truck. Very nicely done. That's really cool. All right. I was going to say let's do a rotation here, but this sign seems pretty much straight up and down. I mean, we can check it. See if we get the truck level, then the sign isn't really, so maybe we split the difference there. That is cool. I'm not really going to do very much to this one. I already really like this. Very, very cool. Maybe what we'll do is try to have a bit of fun artistically with this and bring down the saturation of our background a little bit. And just keep the truck kind of popping a bit more. I'm also going to suck the green out because there is a little bit of green in the background here. It doesn't really affect anything else because this truck is so teal. Maybe even adjust the luminance there. Yeah, that's cool. What a mean looking infraction. Did you paint the sidewalls of the Hoon's tires? If he's watching. Which I think he still is. I'm also going to play with this sky a little bit, and I've just desaturated it a little bit. Just going to blur it out a little bit to the top as well. Let's go back to our hues here. I'm just pulling some of the super saturation red out of here and making it a bit more orange. I'm also going to go into our aqua and play with that a little bit. There, that's pretty cool. And then I think we'll hit it with some grain so it feels like a vintage photo. Travis, well, I'm done taking photos. This one wins the internets. It is a very cool look. Not something I would have expected out of an infraction, and I think RC Patina guy did a really nice job with it. It's pretty neat. Not a giant photo, though. What I was going to do was I was going to get in here, see if I could paint out some of those wires, and that seems to have done the job, so that's good, helpful. And maybe on our aqua we will oversaturate it a little bit so it really pops off the page. What a great location for a photo. Yeah, it really worked out nicely for you. Yeah, there we go. Digging that. Full screen. Hopefully you can see the whole truck still. Yep, for the most part. Before, after. Just making it feel a bit more vintage. But yeah, that's really cool, man. I like that a lot. Before, after. Nice one, RC Patina guy. Thank you very much for sharing that with me. Oh, yes. Now, here's one I wanted to do from last week that I didn't get to from Sven Volmer. It's a race car. And we don't see a lot of these usually, but this is going to be fun. Definitely a little bit different from what we've been doing. Not a huge photo. He sent two. They're both pretty much the same size. So let's do the more F1 inspired one, because that one feels a little bit more on the realistic side. These ones always tend to look a bit RC-ish, whereas this one definitely looks a bit more like it's not an RC. Definitely going to crop. I think this will help make it feel like it's in motion. And we're going to definitely do some paint brush work here. And keep that nice and saturated, but we are going to darken it a little bit. And we'll do the same thing along here, and here, and over here, just to kind of give it an appearance of motion. That's feeling pretty good. Amp up our texture and our clarity a little tiny bit. I actually prefer it when it's a bit softer, especially with these motion photos. That's looking pretty cool. Gosh, I don't know. There's not much I'm gonna do to this one, I don't think. It is kind of doing everything I already wanted it to do. Not a big photo, so it is a little harder for us to get a good correction out of it. Maybe we'll play with the saturation of some of these elements. Amp up that red a little bit. Change its hue. There we go. That's feeling pretty good. And yeah. Before, after. Before, after. That's a fun one. It's not, like I said, it's not the biggest photo in the whole world, but I really like the element of motion that this brings. It's pretty cool. Before, after. Very subtle correction. But I like this one. Very nice. Thank you very much, Sven, for sending that my way. Let's do this one from Ashton Stewart. Looks like we've got a TF2 and a SCX-10 III. What's that in the background? I wish I could tell. Got your Wrangler MTRs mounted properly, so that's a good start. Nice blurred out background. It's kind of nice. Maybe they're having a conversation. All right. Let's start by desaturating the red a little bit. Not so in your face. I like the angle of this photo. It's a little bit different. I feel like it could still use a bit of a crop, though. Maybe not so front heavy. There we go. Feels a little bit better. Texture, clarity. This is not a big photo either. It's pretty heavily pixelated and compressed. You can tell if I go full screen here, you'll probably be able to see, especially in the rocks here, there's a lot of pixelizing going on there. Bring our exposure down a little bit, warm it up ever so slightly. Amp up our oranges a little bit and our yellows. Greens, I'm going to change our hue. There we go, that's a little bit better. Maybe not so hot in the luminance. There we go. Let's do this. Let's do a preset cool light. That actually makes it look pretty interesting. that's where we were with that. Let's put that back on. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Throw a light vignette on there too. Maybe boost our shadows a little bit. Congrats, Dan, on getting your first scale truck. TRX4 Sport Kit is a great place to start. And also a photographer, so that'll help. Can't wait to see what you come up with, and maybe you can share some of your corrected photos here on the channel as well. All right, we're approaching an hour, believe it or not. And I think I'll do maybe one or two more, and then we're going to call it. Because these work weeks are getting to me, man. I know it's a short week, but I feel like I've already spent all day in front of the computer. So, yeah, I know. I'm so dry. My throat's so dry today. I don't know what's going on. Let's do this one from Mark Purrington. I think this will be a good place to end tonight. Lots of light coming through on this one. I presume that's the moon again. And it's sort of another grainy photo. We're getting a few grainy photos coming through, guys. So try to bring in something with a bit more resolution, if you could. It'd be very helpful. I'm just trying some stuff here. I like that moon is very, very yellow. Just seeing what I can do here. I don't think there's much fixing that. Do you like that? Yeah, that looks better. It's Tuesday. What day did I say it was? There's a lot going on in this photo. Not a ton of information, as you can see, either. So maybe we'll go a little more into, maybe we'll even do like a black and white. Something like that is kind of neat. Selenium tone makes it feel a bit more like it is actually nighttime. Then we can, by changing, when you change temperature and it's in black and white, obviously you're not changing the color of the photo. What we can do, though, is swing it blue by going into the tone curve. Now it does feel like it's sort of like a day for night kind of shot. That looks pretty interesting. I think I'm going to go with it. And we'll put grain on it to disguise all of that pixelization. And we'll throw a medium vignette on it too. There we go. Before, after. Pretty big change on this one. But I think it looks pretty cool. Definitely different. Before, after. Maybe not full screen for that. Before, after. Yeah, nice. All right, we got a few done tonight. Let's go back through and take a look at all the ones we did. In no particular order. Nick Orman's Deadbolt. Before, after. After. Braden's SCX-10 III without a servo. Before, after. Mike Guy's shot of old Sun RC's long wheelbase TF2. Before, after. Oh, San Jose. Thanks, Patina Guy. I'll pop that photo up here in a second. Chris McColl's VS410. Before. After. Jeremy's JK. Before and after. Stay Blazed is Element RC Hilux. Before, after. This cool, I think this might be the shot of the week. This night shot from David Crabtree. Before and after. I love that photo. That's really cool. You guys should all shout out which your favorite one is from this week, and be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Another one from Jeremy Burris is Capra. Before, after. Tim's, formerly Noob's Hilux. Before, after. Mark Purrington's nighttime shot. Before and after. Sven Volmer's race car. Before and after. Just a subtle one on that one. Ashton Stewart's two trucks here. Before, after. And finally, RC Patina Guy's Arma Infraction. Before and after. Yeah, there's some good ones in here. Hey, Moose Jaw, just in time to end the stream. So who's everyone's favorite? I'd like to know which one you guys thought was the best one tonight. Post it in the comments there and post it down below as well. Oh, don't forget to watch tomorrow night's live stream takeover with Josh from Harley Designs. We're going to have Hemistorm on the show. That's right. Chris is going to join us. He's probably sleeping right now, so he can be awake for when that show happens. But that's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to having him on the show. So I think that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for checking in and participating. And if you want to participate and you've got photos you want me to correct live on Lightroom Live, by all means, send them to submissions@scalebuildersguild.com. The email link is in the description down below. So I think that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody. Hope everyone is well, and we'll see you again tomorrow night. No monthly mayhem feels so weird. I have to say that. It's great that it's over, though. See everybody tomorrow night. Thanks so much for checking in. Bye.